morning. My name is David Taylor. I was given an assignment to provide an information speech to a group of people. My goal is to give you some useful information that many people in the United States do not know about. The Army has a full functioning correction system that provides custody and control to thousands of convicted felons that were serving in the military and convicted by a United States courts-martial. I've been a corrections officer for over 20 years. I've served in the Army and seen many of these people face to face. Some of the history about the United States Army Corrections System. It was established about 1800 by Major Thomas Barr. His job was to go out and research and see how military prisoners were being treated, since most of them were being held in county jails and other systems like that. What he found was very harsh treatment to military members, so he went back to Congress and they approved the United States Army Corrections System. Most of these prisoners were being returned to duty, so it was important for them to continue getting their training and return back to their units once they completed their time served. One of the biggest places that we have is the United States Disciplinary Barracks in Fort Leavenworth, Kansas. This was established by Major Barr in the 1800s to hold all these service members. Now, since then, some of the changes that have gone on, most prisoners no longer return to duty. They're sent out, they're released from, they receive court-martials, and then they receive a discharge during their time, so they don't come back to active duty. The Army's role in the military corrections system is we run the United States Disciplinary Barracks, which is the largest military corrections facility in the Department of Defense, and it holds all the most serious crimes from the 10-year sentence all the way up to death row. We're also responsible now for detention operations. We run places such as Guantanamo Bay, Cuba, many of the detention facilities that are in Iraq, Afghanistan, all across the world. Most of these facilities run by the Army are ACA accredited. That's American Corrections Association. What they've done is create a regulation and regulatory guidance for correction systems. All the Army correction systems have been accredited through ACA, including the training academy and the headquarters. What they've also done is many of the corrections officers have also been accredited through ACA. So that's a big plus in the corrections system. One of the only places that have ever accomplished this goal. Like I stated earlier, we also have death row. We currently have 6 personnel on death row. One of the big things about the death row prisoners are the approving authority is the President of the United States. So that's why it's very hard to have a military prisoner executed. We currently have one that is ready to be executed. He was actually signed off on by President George Bush. So that shows you how long it takes to have someone actually executed in the military. The last one that was executed was in 1962, where an individual was hung at the United States Disciplinary Barracks. Currently, the one that's been signed off on is Ronald Gray. He was convicted for murdering 5 people at Fort Bragg, North Carolina. A lot of the people over the years have been overturned. I've seen about 5 or 6 that have been overturned to a life sentence off of death row. So it lets them go back out into the general population and get some of the services provided to them. The military does not actually conduct executions. They're actually conducted in the Federal Bureau of Prisons, but military service members are the ones who carry out the execution. Some of the ones that we have on death row right now, some popular people that many people have heard of. Major Nadal Hassan, he killed 12 people at Fort Hood, Texas. One of those individuals was actually pregnant, so he was charged with 13 murders. And then we also have Hassan Akbar, who killed 2 officers and injured many more at the beginning of the Iraqi war by throwing a grenade into a tent. There's also been lots of support groups that have been created to support prisoners in Fort Leavenworth. Leavenworth 10. The Leavenworth 10 is a support group that was created for individuals that were sentenced for war crimes. It started out with 10 individuals that were convicted, and it's moved on to many, many more. They're still very active. They still bring out and show their support for those prisoners all the time. One other one that we had that many people have heard of, a Bradley Manning support group. His support group was created to support those who wish to become a transgender. As you can imagine, it was very stressful with him there, seeing his transition from male to female. So in closing, I would like to hope that you have a better understanding of the Army Correction System. If you ever have a chance to go to Fort Leavenworth or any of the other locations that have Army Corrections, please go out and see what it's like. It's very interesting. There's a lot of history. Fort Leavenworth still has the original United States Disciplinary Barracks. Unfortunately, the castle has been torn down, but the rest of it is still there for you to see. Thank you for your time. I appreciate it.